Okay, welcome to today's review on the Strike Industries. Well, this is more of an installation guide than a review. Universal optics mount for the Glock. So instead of going to get milling and cuts or going to get a whole different MOS slide, I went this route. This is the Strike Industries G.U.M. It's pretty easy. It slides into your rear sight dovetail mount. Where your rear sight would go, it has a little dovetail on the bottom of this plate that'll slide in here. This one's specifically for Glock. You can see it better on this side. Might have to tap that a little bit more on the other. No, it's just the camera. But there you go. I think they make for different pistols as well. I have a Trichicon RMR Type 2 that'll be going on here. I'm not sure if I'm throwing it in the same video, but more than likely I'll do separate review videos in case someone's specifically looking for this plate. Install is pretty easy. I do recommend a sight pusher tool, not for this, but to get your old rear sight out, unless you have the plastic sights and you plan on getting different iron sights to begin with. I also bought a sight pusher tool specifically to do this, but so I have it in the future. One note that I learned about getting the sight pusher tools is that they won't work on the smaller 42 and 43. The slide is a little bit smaller than your 17 and 19, so they won't fit on that. You might have to get a specific pusher tool for that. So maybe take it to a gunsmith to do those ones. But yeah, install is pretty easy. One thing, it does come with a little guide here that'll show you. This will fit for an RMR or Burris, and I think there's a few other models. Let me see. It says on the guide here. Yeah, Trichicon, Dr. Burris, and MRDS, Leopold, however you want to say it. So those are the different brands that it'll fit for this specific one. I'm sure they make other models, or not this company, but other companies will make other models for different sights if you wish. Maybe for, say, the Vortex or something. I don't know why this don't want to focus. Let me put autofocus on. There we go. Okay. One thing that the guide doesn't tell you is there is set screws already inside there. You're going to want to go ahead and loosen them. You don't have to take them all the way out, but just loosen them so it'll make pushing this slide on easy. You do not need a pusher tool to put this on. It goes on pretty easy. The whole idea is why it's not as tight as a regular rear sight is because you have the set screws to help add that friction in place so it doesn't move. So they can go ahead and make the tolerances a little bit smaller, make it easier to push on. I use a flat surface up here and set the pistol slide like this so I can, and then I use the armorer's hammer to just tiny little taps to persuade it a little bit until I got it even on both sides. And then now I can go ahead and tighten down these screws. Now each one of these screws does a different thing. These two back ones here, you see a little triangle of them. The two front screws you see there, that'll add your to keep the sight from moving. And then there's other screws that'll adjust your tilt, your side to side, your front to back. All you really need to do is start tightening down the screws till they just start to give you resistance. Do it to all of them, and then start with your rear dovetail ones. Get those as tight as you can, and then work your way around. You just want to kind of get it pretty even. You can, of course, obviously fix if it's a little, you got a tiny bit of tilt one way or the other when you go to zero your optic. But this also gives instructions on that, on what screw does what adds tilt, what adds side to side shift, as you can see in the different steps here, and I'll tell you which screw does what. So you don't need to go off this video to tell you. But so far I'm pretty impressed with the quality. It does add a little bit of height, but I'm not too worried about it because this will be my main sight once it's on there. The Trichicon, I have a lot of confidence in it, especially the Type 2. So should be no worries there. And next video will probably be the review on either installing this, how it went, and my thoughts and opinions on the new RMR Type 2. So a few things to be aware of. I was reading down on the compatibility, it lists a few other ones that weren't mentioned on there. They will fit on here, but there is a steel post that you also put on the front of the slide for a more secure fit. And so you might not get your steel post to line up with these other manufacturers that are not listed. As you can see down here, if I can get it to focus that close, loophole delta point can be mounted, but not with reinforced posts to secure 100%. So that's something to be aware of if you have that brand. There might be a different mount out there that is made specifically for that, so that might be a route you want to go, but just something to be aware of. And I'll show you here the posts that they are talking about. These are the little posts here. The bigger one are for the RMR, and the smaller ones are for the Burris and the MDRS, or whatever they said. I'm not too familiar with those brands, but I would go with a mount that has that, just so you got that little bit more security. But like they said, it is not needed. It probably comes with more screws because they can't use this post. I've noticed the RMR uses the two bigger barrels you see in here, and they also have 2 screws that go in the RMR. For other versions, they use these 3 smaller posts, but they'll have 4 screws that go in. So maybe not too much to worry about, but just something to know and to note. If you have those models, just be aware of that. One thing to take note of as well, when you're putting your posts in for which specific model you have, one side will have a dot and the other side will just be flat and flush. Make sure you put the dot side down towards your slide. Do that and you will be good. Okay, so here, sorry about the wind, it's about the thunderstorm, but here's the setup all completed. It does sit a little high. One thing that is going to mean for you is that the factory 0 set is probably not going to work out for you. I tested it with my light laser combo here, and it is sitting about 6 inches above my laser, which I do have 0 to this pistol. But not a big deal. I can adjust that, no problem. But here's a little bit of a look at it. I don't know if you could see those set screws that come to the side to keep side-to-side movement from happening. And they also, some of those screws do affect the tilt of it, so that's one thing. You could check it out with a level if you need to. But that's all things you can work out with your 0, so no issues there. And then another good thing is that, pop off my light here, it does fit in my Safari Land grip lock holster without any cuts needed. I thought I was going to have to break out the Dremel tool to get it to fit, but it fits just fine. It's starting to rain now, so let me get out of here, but stay tuned. A review will come on this Trijicon RMR Type 2. This is the 3.25 dot, and I'll let you know what I think about it. Take care, guys.